Most people don't realize that the way they start their morning decides how their entire day unfolds. The truth is, success is not just about intelligence or luck, it's about focus. And focus is built or destroyed by your daily habits. When you wake up, your mind is fresh, your energy is at its peak, and that time is either used to move you closer to your goals or wasted on distractions that drain you before the day even begins. Elon Musk doesn't waste his mornings scrolling. He doesn't fill his head with noise. He uses his time like a weapon. And if you want to achieve something extraordinary, you must do the same. The first trap that kills your focus is grabbing your phone the moment you open your eyes. Notifications, social media, emails, they hijack your attention and scatter your thoughts. Instead of starting with clarity, you start in chaos. You give away your focus to someone else's agenda. The second habit that destroys productivity is staying in bed after waking up. Those extra minutes might feel comfortable, but they weaken your discipline. You train your brain to choose comfort over action, and that tiny decision echoes through the rest of your day. And the third hidden killer is filling your morning with unnecessary noise, TV, news, or gossip. These things don't inspire you, they distract you. They program your mind with negativity and waste the creative energy that could be fueling your vision. If you want to perform at the highest level, if you want to build something that lasts, you have to take your mornings seriously. Success doesn't come from one massive action. It comes from the small, repeated choices you make every single day. Protect your focus like it's your greatest asset, because it is. Start your mornings with discipline, clarity, and purpose, and you'll separate yourself from 99% of people who let distractions run their lives. The future belongs to those who control their focus. Most people underestimate the power of the first few minutes of their morning. They think the day starts when they're fully awake, when they've had breakfast, when they get into work or school, but in reality, the day begins the very second your eyes open. That moment sets the tone for everything that follows. What most people don't realize is that the very first decision they make, what they choose to give their attention to, decides whether the day will be driven by focus or consumed by distraction. And for most people in this modern world, the very first thing they do is reach for their phone. It's almost automatic. Before even leaving the bed, their hand goes straight to the device, their thumb starts scrolling, and within seconds, their brain is overloaded with information. What feels like a harmless morning ritual is in fact one of the greatest killers of focus and productivity. Imagine this: your brain, after a full night's sleep, is rested and ready. It's like a blank canvas, clear, fresh, and ready to be painted with thoughts, ideas, and priorities that could shape your day, and maybe even your life. But instead of painting something meaningful, you immediately throw random splashes of noise onto that canvas. Notifications, endless messages, emails, the latest social media updates. Suddenly that fresh canvas is no longer yours. It's filled with someone else's agenda, someone else's opinions, demands, and distractions have stolen the clarity you could have used to think about your goals. And once your attention has been hijacked, it's incredibly hard to take it back. People often say they're not addicted to their phones, but the truth is, every time you wake up and grab it first thing, you're reinforcing a habit loop that teaches your brain to crave stimulation before discipline. It's a form of mental programming. Instead of asking yourself, what's my purpose today? What's the one important thing I need to accomplish? You're immediately thrown into the mental chaos of 1,000 unrelated details. And here's the dangerous part: it feels like productivity, because you're seeing emails, you're reading news, you're looking at updates, but in reality, you're just reacting, you're consuming. You're not leading your day, you're following the flow of distraction. Elon Musk has often spoken about the importance of deep focus, the ability to direct all your attention toward a meaningful problem and work on it relentlessly. Think about how a man running companies like Tesla and SpaceX manages his attention. Do you really believe he begins his day drowning in memes, comments, or headlines designed to trigger dopamine spikes? Of course not. The people who build extraordinary things guard their focus like their lives depend on it, because in many ways, it does. Success, innovation, and progress all come down to focus, and the moment you give that away, you hand over your most valuable resource. When you check your phone the moment you wake up, you're not just losing time, you're damaging your ability to concentrate for the rest of the day. Science shows that when your brain is bombarded with rapid, fragmented information, it gets harder to focus deeply later on. You're literally wiring your mind for distraction. That's why so many people struggle to sit down and work with full attention. They've already trained their minds to seek constant novelty instead of calm concentration. That single habit in the morning is like opening the floodgates of distraction, and once the flood begins, it doesn't stop. Now think about the alternative. Imagine waking up, and instead of rushing to grab your phone, you take a few deep breaths. You sit with your thoughts. Maybe you write down the 3 most important things you want to achieve that day. Maybe you visualize the outcome you want. Maybe you just sit in silence and allow your brain to slowly adjust to wakefulness without being hijacked. That simple change in the first 10 minutes of your day gives you clarity, direction, and control. You're telling your brain, I'm in charge of my attention. I decide where my focus goes. And that mindset shift is incredibly powerful. It doesn't matter how talented or intelligent you are. If your focus is constantly being stolen, you will never reach your potential. History is filled with examples of people who achieved extraordinary things not because they were the smartest, but because they could direct their attention with intensity and consistency. The world today is designed to break that focus. Entire industries are built to capture your attention and keep it away from what truly matters. Social media apps, notifications, even the design of the phone itself, everything is engineered to make you a consumer instead of a creator. And the moment you surrender to it in the morning, you're already losing the game. Elon Musk once said that people spend too much time on trivial things and not enough time on what actually moves the needle. If you want to achieve greatness, you need to flip that equation. The problem is, most people say they don't have enough time, when in reality, they're giving away hours of their life to distractions that don't matter. Checking your phone in the morning may seem like minutes, but those minutes carry consequences. They don't just disappear, they set your brain on a path of scattered focus for the rest of the day. What could have been a day of creativity, problem solving, and progress turns into a day of reaction, stress, and business without real results. Think about how Elon Musk approaches his day. He prioritizes ruthlessly. He doesn't allow his schedule to be consumed by meaningless activities. He organizes his time in 5-minute slots because he knows the value of every moment. That's the level of respect you need to have for your mornings. Because once the morning is lost, the day is compromised. And once too many days are compromised, the vision of your future slips further away. So the real question is, do you want to live life reacting to what other people throw at you? Or do you want to live life creating the future you want? Do you want to spend the most important hours of your brain's energy on scrolling? Or do you want to invest that energy into building, learning, and moving closer to your goals? Every morning you make that choice, whether you realize it or not, and each choice compounds. One morning of clarity turns into a week of productivity. 1 week of productivity turns into a month of progress. A month of progress turns into a year of transformation. And it all begins with the decision not to let distractions control your first hour. It's not easy, because habits feel automatic. The phone is right there and the temptation is strong. But ask yourself, is a few minutes of dopamine worth sacrificing your focus, your discipline, your potential? You already know the answer. The people who win in life are the ones who are willing to do what others won't. And while others waste their mornings scrolling, you can use yours to design your future. Here's the truth: if you want to think big, if you want to innovate, if you want to achieve something that actually matters, your mornings are sacred. Treat them like gold. Don't let them be stolen by meaningless distractions. Instead, build a morning ritual that strengthens your discipline, protects your focus, and fuels your creativity. That's how you separate yourself from the masses. That's how you step into the mindset of leaders, innovators, and builders. And if you do that consistently, day after day, year after year, there is no limit to what you can accomplish. The moment you wake up, before you even speak, before you even move, you are already making a choice that will shape the rest of your day. That choice is simple but powerful. Do you get up immediately? Or do you stay in bed a little longer? Most people think those extra 5 or 10 minutes of comfort don't matter. They believe hitting snooze is harmless, a small indulgence before the day begins. But the truth is, that decision is far more significant than it appears. The way you handle that very first challenge, the moment when your alarm rings and your body resists, is the foundation of your discipline. And discipline is the root of success. Lying in bed after waking may seem comforting, but it weakens something vital inside you. It's not just about losing time, it's about teaching your brain the wrong lesson. Every time you choose to delay getting up, you are reinforcing the habit of postponing action. You are training your mind to believe that comfort matters more than commitment, that delay is acceptable, and that you can put off what should be done now. Over time, that habit doesn't just affect your mornings, it seeps into everything you do. It influences how you handle work, how you pursue goals, how you respond to challenges. If you can't win the small battle of simply getting out of bed, how can you expect to win the bigger battles that life throws at you? Discipline is not built in grand moments. It's not something that suddenly appears when you face a huge challenge. Discipline is forged in the small, invisible choices you make every day. The choice to get up right away, to start moving despite the resistance, is one of those invisible but defining decisions. Elon Musk didn't build companies like Tesla and SpaceX by waiting until he felt comfortable. He acts when action is required, not when it feels easy. That's the difference between leaders and followers, between those who create history and those who get lost in it. Think about what happens when you stay in bed after waking. At first, it feels harmless. You tell yourself, just 5 more minutes. But those 5 minutes turn into 10, and those 10 into 20. And even if you eventually get up, you've already sent a message to your mind. I don't have control. My comfort controls me. That one decision sets the tone for your entire day. You'll notice yourself procrastinating more, finding excuses, putting off tasks that matter, because you already practiced delay the moment your day began. The habit compounds, and habits, over weeks and months, define who you become. Now imagine the alternative. The alarm rings, and you immediately swing your feet to the ground. You don't think twice, you don't bargain with yourself, you just move. That small act sends a completely different signal to your brain. I am in charge. My actions are stronger than my excuses. It may feel like a tiny victory, but it's one of the most powerful wins you can have, because it builds momentum. Instead of starting the day with hesitation, you start with action. That mindset carries into everything you do. You feel sharper, more decisive, more in control. You've already proven to yourself that you can do what needs to be done, even when it doesn't feel easy. That's how confidence is built, not by waiting, but by acting. People often wonder how Elon Musk manages to work such long hours, handle so many companies, and still keep pushing boundaries when most would have given up. The answer isn't magic, it's discipline. It's the ability to take action when action is needed, regardless of how tired or unmotivated he feels. The same principle applies to you. If you can't conquer your bed in the morning, you'll struggle to conquer your goals in life. But if you can discipline yourself to rise immediately, you'll build the mental strength to face bigger challenges without hesitation. Discipline is like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. But the less you use it, the weaker it becomes. Every morning is an opportunity to train that muscle. Every morning is a chance to strengthen your ability to act. And here's the thing, you don't need to wait for motivation to strike. Motivation is unreliable. It comes and goes like the wind. Discipline, on the other hand, is steady. It's not about how you feel. It's about what you do. The alarm rings, you get up, that's it. That simple rule transforms your mornings and over time, transforms your life. There's a powerful psychological effect at play here. When you discipline yourself to rise immediately, you start your day with a win. Before the world has thrown a single challenge your way, you've already conquered the first one. That victory builds momentum. You carry that sense of achievement into your next action, and your next, and suddenly the day feels like it belongs to you. You're not behind schedule, you're ahead. You're not reacting, you're leading. All of that comes from a simple choice made within seconds of waking. Now let's address the truth. Getting up immediately is not easy. Your body will resist. Your mind will whisper excuses. It will tell you that you're too tired, that 5 more minutes won't hurt, that you deserve a little more rest. And yes, rest is important. But let's be honest, most of the time when you stay in bed after waking, it's not because your body truly needs recovery. It's because you've built the habit of choosing comfort over discipline. That habit is what needs to be broken. And the only way to break it is to act differently. Elon Musk once said, when something is important enough, you do it even if the odds are not in your favor. Apply that same mindset to your mornings. When your alarm goes off, it doesn't matter how you feel. It doesn't matter if you're tired, if it's cold, if you don't feel ready. What matters is that you act. Because if you let feelings dictate your actions, you'll live an average life. But if you let discipline dictate your actions, you'll build an extraordinary one. Every great achievement begins with small acts of consistency. Waking up and getting out of bed immediately is one of the simplest, yet most powerful, acts of consistency you can practice. Over time, this habit becomes part of your identity. You stop seeing yourself as someone who delays, who procrastinates, who negotiates with excuses. You start seeing yourself as someone who acts, someone who leads, someone who takes charge of life instead of waiting for it to happen. That identity shift is priceless, because once you see yourself differently, you begin to perform differently. So ask yourself this when the alarm rings tomorrow, what choice will you make? Will you roll over and choose the comfort of 5 more minutes, knowing it weakens your discipline? Or will you rise immediately, knowing it builds your strength, your focus, and your future? The choice seems small, but it's everything. Because success doesn't come from one massive leap, it comes from the small, disciplined steps you take every day. And the very first step begins the moment you wake up. If you want to create the future you dream about, stop hitting snooze on your life. Get up, move, act. Don't give in to comfort when greatness is calling you. That simple discipline will do more for your success than any motivational quote, any book, or any shortcut you're searching for. Your destiny is shaped by your habits, and your habits are shaped by your mornings. Win the morning, and you win the day. Win the day, and you win the life you've always wanted. The human mind is like a powerful engine. When you wake up in the morning, it is fully fueled, sharp, and capable of extraordinary focus. But here's the problem. Most people waste that energy on things that don't matter. They feed their brain with noise, and by the time they need clarity, it's already gone. Noise doesn't just mean sound, it means anything that clutters your mind with unnecessary, unproductive, or negative information. The television blasting bad news, the endless scrolling through gossip or social media drama, the meaningless chatter of opinions and negativity, all of these are noise. And when you let that noise enter your mind first thing in the morning, you rob yourself of the clarity and focus you need to create something meaningful. Think about this carefully. Your morning mental energy is like a bank account. You wake up with a full balance, ready to spend it on creativity, problem solving, planning, and building your future. But if you waste that balance on gossip, negativity, or distractions, by the time you actually start working on something important, your account is nearly empty. No wonder so many people feel drained halfway through the day. They didn't lose their energy to real effort, they lost it to noise. Elon Musk doesn't waste his mornings filling his mind with meaningless chatter. He focuses on what matters, because he knows that mental energy is finite, and it must be directed towards solving the biggest problems. Imagine trying to build rockets, create cars that redefine the industry, or manage multiple companies while also filling your mind with gossip, news headlines designed to scare you, or random distractions. It would be impossible. The only way to achieve at a high level is to fiercely protect your mental energy. The world is constantly competing for your attention. News outlets design headlines not to inform you, but to hook you emotionally. Social media is engineered to keep you scrolling, consuming, comparing. Even the conversations around you can drain your focus if they're centered on negativity or trivial things. Every piece of noise you consume is like opening a small leak in your energy tank. One leak may seem harmless, but add enough of them, and before you know it, the tank is empty. Protecting your mental energy is not just about avoiding negativity, it's about being intentional with what you allow into your mind. Every morning, ask yourself, what am I feeding my brain right now? Is it inspiration? Is it clarity? Is it purpose? Or is it noise, distraction, and negativity? Because your mind is like a garden. Whatever seeds you plant in the morning will grow throughout the day. If you plant seeds of distraction and negativity, that's what will multiply. If you plant seeds of clarity, focus, and positivity, that's what will dominate your thoughts. Imagine 2 different mornings. In the first, you wake up, switch on the television, and listen to a stream of negative headlines about things you cannot control. You scroll through social media, comparing yourself to others, getting lost in drama, memes, or arguments that have nothing to do with your goals. By the time you start your work, your brain is scattered, your focus is gone, you feel drained, but you haven't accomplished anything. In the second scenario, you wake up, take a few moments in silence, maybe write down your priorities, maybe read a page of something inspiring or simply reflect on your goals. You haven't consumed noise, you've created clarity. Now when you start your work, your energy is directed. Your mind is sharp and you're operating with intention. Which version of you do you think will achieve more over the long run? The truth is, your mornings belong to you, or they belong to the world. And most people give their mornings away. They allow outside forces to dictate their mood, their thoughts, and their energy. They wake up and immediately consume noise, so their entire day becomes a reaction instead of a creation. If you want to be different, if you want to achieve something extraordinary, you have to take your mornings back. You have to say no to the noise and yes to clarity. Elon Musk once said, "You get paid in direct proportion to the difficulty of problems you solve." Solving difficult problems requires deep focus and clarity. That's impossible if your mind is drowning in noise. That's why protecting your mornings is not just a nice idea. It's a necessity if you want to achieve at the highest level. You cannot build a vision for your future if your mind is filled with the noise of the present. You cannot innovate if you're distracted by gossip. You cannot lead if you're consumed by negativity. Protecting your mental energy also requires being ruthless with boundaries. Not every message needs an immediate reply. Not every conversation deserves your attention. Not every piece of information is worth consuming. You must treat your attention like the most valuable currency you have. Because it is. Once spent, you can never get it back. That's why you must spend it wisely. In the morning, when your attention is sharpest, spend it on yourself, your goals, your priorities, not on what the world throws at you. This is not about ignoring reality or being uninformed. It's about timing. If there's important information you need, you can consume it later, after you've already secured your clarity and focus for the day. The mistake most people make is letting the world in too early. They let noise steal their best energy, and then wonder why they struggle to concentrate. You need to flip that script. Give your best energy to yourself and your mission first, and let the world wait. Ask yourself, do you want to be a creator or just a consumer? Do you want to design your life, or do you want to let other people's noise design it for you? Because the truth is, you can't do both. You can't scroll endlessly, consume negativity, and still expect to operate at your highest level. Something has to go. And if you're serious about your goals, the first thing that must go is the noise that steals your mornings. Protecting your mental energy doesn't just improve your productivity, it transforms your life. When your mornings are quiet, clear, and focused, your days feel different. You stop feeling overwhelmed. You stop feeling scattered. Instead, you feel in control, intentional, and powerful. You become the kind of person who leads rather than follows, who creates rather than consumes, who moves with clarity instead of confusion. And that difference compounds over time. A week of protecting your mornings becomes a month of powerful focus. A month becomes a year of progress. And that year becomes a lifetime of achievement. So tomorrow morning, before you switch on the TV, before you scroll through your phone, before you let noise flood your brain, pause. Remind yourself that your mental energy is sacred. Protect it. Use it to fuel your vision, your goals, your creativity. The world will still be there later, with all its noise and distractions. But your morning clarity, that only comes once, and once it's gone, you can't get it back. Don't waste it. Elon Musk isn't building rockets because his mornings are filled with negativity. He's building rockets because he protects his focus, guards his mental energy, and uses his mornings to think about solutions, not problems. If you want to achieve at even a fraction of that level, you must adopt the same mindset. Guard your mornings, protect your focus, reject the noise, because your future depends on the clarity of your mind, and clarity cannot survive in chaos.